For the last several years, Apple's upgrade cycle has focused almost entirely on the inside of the phone. We've seen a steady march of processor bumps, faster neural engines, and denser silicon, while the physical chassis remained nearly identical. But the latest leaks surrounding the iPhone 18 Pro suggest a sharp pivot. The focus is shifting outward, bringing massive physical transformations to the device in your hand. As you can see in this comparison timeline, the past 3 years of internal chip upgrades are now being traded for 3 distinct external changes: a noticeably taller aspect ratio, a smaller dynamic island, and new under-display sensors. This lineup marks the first major ergonomic overhaul to the device since the iPhone 14 Pro was introduced. Instead of chasing raw benchmarks and processing speeds that most users never max out, the engineering focus here is on how the phone actually feels and operates in daily use. Apple is betting that the physical handling of the device, how it rests in your palm and displays your feeds, will drive the next massive wave of upgrades, rather than another boost in computational speed. That hardware bet comes at a steep premium. Premium smartphones are rapidly climbing in price, with top-tier models knocking on the door of a $2,000 luxury price tag. That leaves buyers facing a strict financial trade-off. You have to decide if a more comfortable, refined physical design is worth the cost of a new device, especially when your current phone is likely fast enough for everything you already do. And if you look at user forums, there is plenty of frustration regarding this direction. Many buyers argue they don't need a taller screen or a smaller cutout. They just want a phone with a battery that actually lasts 2 full days. To figure out if this iteration is actually worth your money, we have to strip away the marketing terms and look at how these specific physical changes impact your actual daily routine. The most noticeable change in these leaks is the sheer size of the screens. The 18 Pro Max is expanding toward a 7-inch diagonal measurement. But rather than scaling the entire phone up evenly, Apple is keeping the width the same and pulling the screen vertically. The immediate benefit here is vertical real estate. A taller screen fits more text, more social media posts, and more rows of data onto your display without requiring you to scroll as frequently. By locking the width in place, the phone remains stable in your grip. You don't have to stretch your fingers horizontally just to keep the device from slipping out of your hand. Looking at this wireframe, you see the mechanical catch. The colored semicircle represents the maximum reach of an average thumb. As the display pushes upward, top corner buttons move completely out of reach, forcing you to shift your grip. It's a calculated physical compromise. You get a larger canvas for reading and scrolling, but you sacrifice easy, one-handed access to the top edge of the operating system. The next major adjustment happens at the top of the glass. Leaks indicate the dynamic island is shrinking, losing roughly 25 to 35% of its overall footprint. To make this happen, the internal components are being rearranged, shifting the front-facing camera lens slightly off-center to tighten the entire sensor package. This targets a very specific daily friction point: the distraction of a large black cutout sitting right in the middle of your full-screen apps. For mobile gamers, a smaller pill means vital UI elements, maps and menus along the top edge of the screen are no longer blocked by camera hardware. We can see the impact on media playback here. A standard 16:9 video currently suffers from the dynamic island punching through the frame edge. By shaving off a third of that footprint, the obstruction is pushed into the bezel, restoring critical pixels. However, a smaller hole in the screen is still a hole in the screen. The interface continues to break up the display space. So while this is a much cleaner look that reclaims usable area, anyone hoping for an entirely unblemished slab of glass will find this is still a compromise. Hardware development relies heavily on stepping stone technology, releasing an incomplete version of a feature to build the manufacturing foundation for a long-term goal. That brings us to the most futuristic leak. Apple is reportedly moving the facial recognition sensors entirely underneath the active display panel. Hiding these sensors beneath the OLED pixels is how they reduce that top screen clutter, pushing the industry toward a truly bezel-less standard in the coming years. But this creates a classic trap for the buyer. When you purchase first-generation stepping stone hardware, you are paying top dollar to fund a transitional design phase that usually gets perfected 1 or 2 cycles later. While putting sensors beneath the screen is an important engineering milestone for the company, it provides the lowest immediate daily impact for the person actually buying the phone. So should you actually buy it? Let's look at this decision flowchart to map these physical changes directly to your personal daily friction points. The first path is for the ergonomic optimizer. If you consume hours of video or spend most of your day reading tall feeds, the extra vertical space and the smaller cutout will immediately improve your experience, making this a strong upgrade. The second path belongs to the upgrade pragmatist. If you are holding on to a phone that is 3 or 4 generations old, jumping to this new chassis will provide a massively tangible physical difference in your hand, validating the high cost of entry. But that brings us to the final path, the skeptic. If your main complaint with your current phone is that it dies by 4 p.m., slightly taller glass and a smaller camera hole aren't going to fix that. For you, this generation is purely evolutionary. The actual value of the 18 Pro hinges completely on whether the physical handling of your device is the main thing slowing you down. Ultimately, Apple's latest iteration is an investment in handling comfort over raw computational power. While the rest of the industry pushes complex foldable screens and aggressive AI agents, Apple is spending its resources obsessing over a few millimeters of glass and bezel. Keep in mind, buying into hardware while it's in the middle of a transition phase carries the very real risk that next year's model will suddenly perfect the formula, leaving yours feeling immediately dated. Dropping luxury prices on a smartphone is a massive commitment. Before you swipe your card, make sure these exact physical proportions actually eliminate the friction from your day.